Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out. Pleasure to be in the company of British Boxing Hall of Fame trainer Joe Gallagher, albeit over the power of Zoom. Joe, good to see you. I know there's a lot to talk about, but I can't in good faith start the interview without asking for an update on your health. Of course, how are things over with you?
Yeah, okay. I'm just cracking on work as normal. As Roy Keane said, doing my job. I've thrown myself more into work. I've been really busy the month of July. Obviously, Lawrence at the weekend. Then we had Mike and Clark, Zell for the weekend before, and then 3 other kids at it. So, yeah, but health-wise, yeah, I'm due in for an operation soon. So, gone through the 4 cycles of chemo, and that's it. But what I would like to say to everyone is, go and get a medical, go and get checked out, go and have a stool sample. And I've had 3 or 4 people be in touch with me that have gone on and done it, and 2 of them have been diagnosed, unfortunately, but at least they're catching it early. So I'm really happy about that. So the main thing is just to make people aware, and to, no matter what your age, whether you're 25, 30, 35, get a stool sample and go and get checked out.
Oh, absolutely. Echo that as well too. On to the weekend's action. Of course, you had Lawrence Okolie out as the chief support at Wembley. Boxer, a good fight against Kevin Lerena. Before we get into the reaction as well too, let me get your take on how Lawrence did against Kevin.
I thought Lawrence, in the short space of time that we had 5 weeks notice for the fight for Kevin Lerena, and I thought in that time frame that the work that we did worked well. And I think people forget that this is the same that Kevin Lerena that knocked Daniel Dubois down 3 times in the first fight. Had a good fight with Justin Hooney last year, and had him wobbled in the 10th. And we've just seen what Justin Hooney did with Fabio Wardley. And then for Lawrence to go in there and give a good disciplined performance, didn't stray from the script, and win every round. And then Lawrence then at the bell turned around and just said to me, my arm's gone. Never mentioned a word of it all the way through the fight, and said it went in round 1. And yeah, I just thought it was a very disciplined performance, and the fact then that he never had said anything about his arm, it just shows what type of person he is. So I thought it was a good win. But what I was really pleased most of all, we got rounds. Lawrence had only had 2 rounds of boxing over the last 12 months, 2 first-round knockouts, which people seem to have forgotten. And he went in there and we got 10 good rounds against a good opponent, against a dangerous opponent. And it was a very disciplined performance, and there's some good things that he really did well in that fight.
Could you explain what the impact of the bicep tear would have done to the game plan, would have done to Lawrence's power or offense in that fight with Kevin?
Yeah, well, obviously the jab, his left hooks, his left uppercuts had worked an awful lot on and throwing as Kevin had come in. He didn't get them off, and as you've seen him in the fight, he was throwing the right hand a lot, leading with the right hand a lot, throwing right hands to the body. And some of the times he'd grit down, as he's saying, and he'd throw 1-2 left up to the body, he'd throw 1-2 left up to the head. But it hurt, but yeah, had a big impact. But I'm just glad that he came through it, and he got rounds under his belt ahead of now, whatever awaits him before the end of the year.
Do you feel, from your perspective, you're able to fashion what you want into Lawrence and mold what you want him to execute at heavyweight? How far along that plan are you in with him?
No, I think I am. I think, well, after the fight, you have people that want to continue with a narrative of Lawrence holding, a narrative that is boring, a narrative is not to say, but they're all forgot. No one's talking about the knockout that he did against the German kid. No one's talking about when we went to Poland and he was the underdog and he had the knockout win. So if you look at Poland and you look at that, Lawrence's boxing, his right hand, his distance, his feet were very good the other night, kept his distance, moved back, used the jab, used the strong arm well, variety of right hands, whether it be right uppercuts, right hooks, right hands, and I feel is beginning to come together. It's unfortunate they aren't done, but people have got to stop with this narrative. And I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to post Scorn and Lawrence and everything else, but it's like, we had one arm and we still beat Kevin Lerena with one hand. We weren't on the floor 3 times, or Lawrence was, and Lawrence wasn't wobbled and all over the place like Justin Hooney was. So I think people should be credit. And giving Lawrence the negative. Well, we carried out a game plan because we knew it was, but there was an onus in Kevin Lerena to have tried and forced it. It was a huge opportunity for him, but not really saying that. And it's because of Lawrence's game plan and his tactics, we managed to offset him, his feet, his movement, and anticipate the shots that he's got through. So I thought it was a very good performance, and it's work in progress. And like I said earlier, I'm really glad that we got 10 rounds under the bank. Before that, we'd never worked in the corner. He'd never come back to the corner. So I know what Lawrence is capable of. He is getting better. And people going on about his weight and everything else. He's an 18 stone. A lot of big heavyweights there. They're all around the 17.5, 18.5 stone. You're seeing some people on social media and a little bit, because on one or two of them, oh, he's out of shape. What? Because he looks out of shape, but have you been in the gym? Have you seen his 12-round sparring, his 15-round sparring sessions? Have you seen his track work? Have you seen the times he gets on the track? No, you haven't. So don't be too quick to do that. You're not doing that to, say, Tyson Fury or Larry Holmes or who else hasn't been body beautiful over the years? James Tony Bellew. Do you understand? So it's like, knock it on the head and don't be too quick to pour scorn on him. And then I don't see people rectifying it and going, well, we didn't know about his arm, and after his arm, in reflection, to beat Kevin Lerena with one arm and win every round, that's a very good, solid performance.
So let me offer you a respectful challenge. I know that you mentioned about the knockouts you had previously, but when a heavyweight doesn't provide a knockout, are they due criticism?
I think we all tune into the heavyweights for that. But when you've got one arm, we've seen with Danny Williams, but obviously Kevin Lerena didn't take chances to provide them opportunities at the same time. So it takes two to tango. And if one isn't doing anything, and every time Lawrence did try and step on the gas, he was very tight, blocked road shots very well, Kevin Lerena, and it was very smart. I felt he might have felt the power early on and just thought, do you know what, I'm not going to take a risk here. I'll wait for he's a bit tired and come strong 8, 9 and 10. He did do a little bit, but Lawrence was still fit enough to move, get out of the way and keep his legs underneath him. So, I know everyone wants to see the heavyweights, but sometimes they don't always deliver, but it's when it counts on the night, and it will deliver. And everyone would be talking about now Lawrence Okolie fighting for a world title, and I'd put Lawrence Okolie in with any of them at the moment, including Usyk. I think whether it be Kabiel, whether it be Usyk, anyone, depends what happens. Lawrence Okolie is ready for that. Everyone keeps going about Okolie being the boogeyman in the division. I think Lawrence Okolie is the boogeyman in the division. No one's wanting to fight him. Dylan White didn't want to fight him. Joe Joyce didn't want to fight him. There's heavyweight starts to Sakura, who fought on the bill, didn't want to fight him. Who lost to Solomon Akar. It's like what we're doing, and like I said to Frank, we'll fight Deontay Wilder. We'll fight these people. Do you know what I mean? It's not that we don't want to. We've got rounds in the bank. It's unfortunate now he's got his biceps hurt, and we'll just have to wait for him to recover, and we'll see what the position of the belts is. But yeah, we're ready to go. Like I say, if the titles aren't on the line, then we'll have another fight. But he is the WBC number one, and he consolidated that position with a fantastic performance over 10 rounds of the night with one arm.
Outside of course, him telling you in the immediacy of the end of the fight that he had that issue with his arm, what did Lawrence say to you about his performance?
I know, as long as I understand that job done, he was frustrated, and as people said, oh, he blew his opportunity to shine in and make it take. That's what. Do you not think the kid's aware of that? Do you not think we thought this could be a fight for the first 3 or 4 rounds, and if it is, we'll be ready? Did you not think we thought, well, they'll try and take us down the straight and then come? We were ready for anything that presented, but it didn't. So we had to perform that way we did do with one arm to do it. Of course, Lawrence is aware of that. He's happy that he got the win. He's happy that he won every round. He's happy that he didn't take much punishment. But of course, he would have liked to have produced his last performance, or the performance in Poland and Wembley, and get everyone talking. But I do feel the performance and the result speaks volumes when you compare what Kevin Lerena has done over the last 12 months, 18 months, obviously, with Daniel Dubois, Justin Hune, being Tyson Fury's main sparring partner in camp for Usyk twice. He fought and had a win in May. And he came into this bouncing. And I think that's a real good, solid performance. And I think boxing people know, but I do generally think there's a narrative out there just to create this bad smell about Lawrence holding never held in the fight at all. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it is what it is. People have a narrative, it ain't an opinion no more. It's a narrative, and they'll try and keep that going because no one wants to talk about, oh, Lawrence Okolie fighting for world title. I'd say to you, if Fabio Wardley, Moses Atuma, or anyone else had beat Kevin Lerena on points with one hand and never lost a round, I think there'd be a lot more hype and praise being dished out.
So let me get you to move pace a little bit, but we will bring Lawrence back into the fold when it comes to the questions moving forward. But I want to get your trainer's eye on Usyk versus Dubois 2 and how that unfolded last night as well.
No, I thought this and Daniel came out, started very well. But Usyk, you got to understand his amateur pedigree. And this is what Spence says. He's mostly fought 20 Daniel Dubois as an amateur. People try to rush him, people try to ruffle him, people try to upset him. And you hear about BTBF getting results against him and body shots and stuff like that. But he's learned with it and he's brought it on board. And the fights that he had in the World Boxing Super Series, and it's not nothing that he hasn't seen before. Does that make sense? Where Daniel, he came out, he got off to a good start. But I think his enthusiasm and committing first paid his undoing in the end, if that makes sense. I think you've got to be really of a high IQ and keep Usyk guessing and keep him thinking and let Usyk lead and counter Usyk and beat him at his own game, be a first and a third and a fifth in the same way that Oleksandr would be. I think that was the case, and I think Daniel forced him into the ropes and he just walked onto a check hook high up on the head, and then obviously in the two phases of attack, Usyk did in them with the left hook around the side of the right hand, and he executed it very well. This is unfortunate for Daniel, but Daniel's only 27. I'm a big fan of Daniel Dubois. He'll regroup, rebuild, and he'll go again. But for Usyk, I don't think there's nothing more for him to prove. He's in a situation like all good fighters when they start coming to the end of the career. You've got the next gen coming through. You've got your opportunities that want to move up and fight him. You've got the young guns. I see Turkey Al-Sheikh, His Excellency, saying, "Oh, Moses Atuma," and yeah, that'd be a huge opportunity for Moses and for him to fight for world title at such a young age. And whether they accept that, it'd be a good learning experience for Moses. Can he pull it off? Southpaw be Southpaw. Younger, fresher, loads of promise for Moses Atuma. I feel it's a win-win. Takes the fight, wins, brilliant. Loses, wasn't supposed to win, but he's gone through the experience of going through a undisputed fight, the build-up, and being in with one of the modern era best fighters there is, and he'd gain great experience from that and come through it. But apart from that, then what else is there for Oleksandr Usyk to do next? What, have a trilogy with Joshua, Tyson Fury? I think he's done there. I think he should just retire and sail off into the sunset.
Was Daniel better or worse in this second fight, and what was the reason for that, whichever way you slide on that position?
It's very hard to say whether you think so far is worse because the fight ended sooner than the first one. Was it better early on? Yeah, it was a little better early on. It was a bit sharper, brought the pressure, set a tempo, and sort of tried to make Usyk fight a higher tempo because of his age and most of the mileage on the clock, and hopefully would get him in rounds 9, 10, 11, 12, the rounds where Usyk seems to catch everybody down the straight. Obviously with Daniel, he obviously wobbled Tyson Fury 9, finished Anthony Joshua, hurt him late down the straight. So I can understand that, but I don't know. It's no point saying it was better, it wasn't better. It's the result that matters at the end of the day. And Usyk won, and Daniel Dubois, the camp and the team, they gave it the best. And I think as long as you can come out of that fight going, you give it your best, you can sleep easy at night. It's when you didn't give it your best and you cheated in camp and you've been exposed like that, then that's where I feel fighters have issues then when they retire, because they had opportunities to do it and they didn't, and they can't live with themselves. So I'm sure that Daniel give it his best, and he can live with himself that he gave it his best, and he can put his hands up, and that he just left to the better man on both occasions.
There are a couple of talking points I want to be direct with you about. One of them is this apparent coming to the fight 90 minutes before the ring walks were scheduled. Now, you've been in the highest to high fights. You've been in fights across the chain of all boxing. Is that an industry standard to, at that level, come in at 90 minutes, or should a fighter and a team be in there before that point?
Yeah, a lot of them say 2 hours, and we had 2 hours. Lawrence Okolie was 2 hours the other night, because you got to walk to the field, not rush it. It's a bit different when you're headline. You've got your time slot; it'll never change. But if you're like chief supporter under, and they're going, well, you're relying on this fight, how it goes. It might end in round 2, so you got to be ready. Or it might end in round 10, and you could find up fighters 1, 2 or 3 times. But when you've got your scheduled time locked in, that your ring walk, especially your main event, and for TV networks around the world, it's a lot easier to build. So I can understand them 90 minutes. But me personally, I always like the 2 hours. I always like to walk to the field and not run to the field, and the fighter's not under stress, there's not pressure, he can chill, he can relax, have that environment, bit of music in the changing room, warm up, stretch. If the opponent's team aren't happy with bandages and you've got to redo it again, any type of things like that. I always like the 2 hours, and I think worldwide, commonly everyone always gets their 2 hours before the event.
The other thing is, look, it was a hell of a punch that Oleksandr Usyk landed, which eventually caused the end of the fight. But a lot has been made about Daniel taking that moment to rest, and after the fight got called off, walking straight back to the corner and not appearing for some to be hurt. Derek Chisora spoke to Radio Raheem, and he called it quit again. He felt that Daniel Dubois quit in the ring. I know that will be a bit of a shadow that's cast upon Daniel off the back of the Joe Joyce and Oleksandr Usyk fights the first time round. Is that a fair assessment of what happened there at Wembley?
No, you can't throw the word quit into a boxing conversation. It's a shocking thing to say. With the grown men that go in the ring, putting the health and the livelihood on the line, and Derek should know better to be using the line, and the line's quit. That's not the case. It's just, we can't start running with that narrative quit. Fighters, we're in the hardest sport in the world. It's legal killing, and to go out there and perform in front of 90,000, for whatever reason, it wasn't his night. But you can't say people quit.
Finally, Joe, we're talking about what's next. You mentioned some of the fighters that were mentioned. Moses Atama was called by Sheikh Tyson Fury, wants a third slice. Anthony Joshua in the mix. Caballel, Joe Parker. I didn't hear Lawrence Okolie's name being mentioned, but of course you'd love that opportunity if it came there. But outside of those, who do you think would be in line? A lot of people feel like Joe deserves that
opportunity. Lawrence Okolie. Like I say, people are quick to mention all these, but they're not mentioning Lawrence Okolie. It's the WBC #1. And we heard lots of noise about Dylan White being the WBC #1. Yeah. And we're the WBC #1. So we've just got as much right as Joseph Parker and other people that are in the frame for it. And like I said, we'll be Kevin Lerena. And I know Moses is fighting Dylan White. Joe Parker's had a good run of form as well. And I think it depends what Alexander wants to do with the belts. If it'll come fragmented, then everyone's happy. We get our WBC shot. Joseph Parker gets his WBO shot. Derek Chisora gets his IBF shot. So we'll just have to wait and see. But for it to be, I don't think Usyk. I think he's got to have one more, but who's it got to be? Would it be Fury? Would it be AJ? Who wants to see AJ again? Fury? I'm not sure. I don't think Tyson Fury should fight again. I don't think there's no need for him to fight again. I don't think there's no need for Usyk to fight again. I think them three are done now. And they just need to let the next wave through, which is who you've just said there. Moses, Joseph, Caballel, Michael Hunter. It's good fighters there. And let them go and sort out who's got to be their next undisputed and pick up versions of the world title. But I do think Usyk, Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury now, it's been a great career, all three of them, and all three of them now should just retire themselves to the sunset.
So that's about the extent of my questions. Is there anything else you want to mention before we close out the interview?
Pardon?
I said that's about the extent of my questions. Is there anything else you want to mention before we close out?
No, that's it. No, that's it. Thank you.
Joe, pleasure. Looking forward to seeing you in person as well too. Thanks for speaking to the Seconds Out. We'll catch up soon.
No problem. Thank you. Good to see you. Thank you.